Hi, I'm Rachel from the Insight team, and today I'm going to walk you through the NWEA map growth feature. The NWEA map growth feature in Insight is for users who support multiple schools, and it is designed to allow you to look at map growth data for all your schools at once or for groups of schools as you choose. And it lets you look at students who have different levels of performance or different levels of growth so that you can create targeted supports for those particular students at the schools where they attend. If you look at the left, you'll see the school list. This list will include all schools that you support, and by default, all of the schools are checked off, which means that their data will be included in any charts on the right. I can filter my list. Let's say I want to see a smaller subset of schools. I can do that through the filters, and you'll see that the number of schools that are now included in my list has gotten smaller. I'm going to clear the filters for now. If we look on the right, the top section is the administration windows for the current school year. You'll see the dates of the administration windows. If an administration window is in progress, that section will be highlighted. And then you can see the number of students who have completed an assessment during each of the administration periods. If an administration period is in progress, then the number of students who have taken an assessment can increase daily because the data in Insight updates each day. Below that, you'll see the growth and performance section. This is where we start by choosing a subject and a grade and an administration window. I'm going to choose 6th grade reading in the winter. When I've chosen my assessment, a second drop-down menu appears, and I can choose one of 3 types of charts. We'll start with score bands. The score bands chart shows the percentage of students who have scored within each of the score bands that NWEA uses for the particular test that you. By default, you are looking only at the overall RIT scores for your students. You can also add bars for any of the instructional goals, or you can hide whichever bars that you don't want to see. For some assessments, there are additional score bands that are to the right. You can scroll to see them all. And when overall RIT score is one of the bars that is visible, you'll also see an average for students who are within the New York City Department of Education and an average for students nationally who have taken this assessment. In addition, there is a table that shows the schools that are attended by the students who have taken the assessment that I've chosen. If I click on a school, then I can see which students at that school took the assessment. This table is sortable by DBN, by school name, and the default sort is the percent of selected students. So this means that of all the students in all my schools who took this assessment, 4% of them in this case go to this school. Let's look at the next type of chart. The next chart is growth quintiles. The growth quintile chart shows the level of growth of students who have taken the assessment more than once within the same school year. So there will not be a growth quintiles chart for fall assessments, but winter and spring, there will be growth quintile charts if there are students who had a growth target from a previous assessment. So this chart only includes students who have taken this assessment more than once. The range is from low, low average, average, high average, and high. The third type of chart is performance quintiles. This chart shows a performance quintile bar graph for overall RIT score. By default, that's the only one you'll see. But you can also add performance quintiles charts for every instructional goal. And again, the 5 sections are low, low average, average, high average, or high. The map growth feature in Insight also allows you to dig deeper into the groups of students who you see in these charts. So for example, I've gone back to the score bands chart, and let's say that I'm interested in finding out more about the students who scored in the lowest 3 score bands in this chart. So I've now clicked on the score bands that are 171 through 180, 181 through 190, 191 through 200. And if you scroll down, you'll see that now there are some connector lines that are connecting some different charts together. So a growth quintiles chart has now appeared. And the growth quintiles chart is showing the growth levels of just the students who are in the score bands that I clicked. So now I'm looking at those particular students, and I can see that there's a range of students in those score bands who have low growth through high growth. Additionally, if you follow the connector line to the schools attended by selected students table, you will see now that the students who are included in the chart are only those who scored within the score bands that I clicked above. So now I've narrowed this number a little bit. Let's say that I want to talk to schools about supporting students who are performing in the lower score bands but have high or high average growth. I can click on the second chart here, the growth quintiles chart, and highlight high, average, and high. And then if I go down to the schools attended by selected students table, I can see that I am now looking only at students with a score band of 171 through 200 and a growth target of high or high average. And so now I can click on a school and see which students fall into that category. If I want to create a different type of support for the students who are scoring in these lower score bands but have low growth, I can click to deselect the bars that I had previously selected and add the bar that I want to look at now. And that is a different group of students, potentially at different schools. Those schools and students are now listed in the table at the bottom. I'm going to switch charts. Let's go to the growth quintile chart. So if I want to start by thinking about students who have a particular growth level, I can do that, and then I will see below that the score bands chart. So if I want to look at students with low and low average growth who are in whichever score bands I'm interested in, let's say the higher score bands this time, this score band has fewer than 1% of the students who took the assessment and are in the low or low average growth quintile are in this score band, but I would like to see them. And so I'm just picking some score bands that I'm interested in, and then I can scroll down and I can see where those students go to school, and if I click on the school name, then I can see which students they are. For performance quintiles, if I click on a bar, then I can see the growth quintiles of those particular students and also the score bands of those particular students. If I click, let's say I choose, I'm going to look at the instructional goals instead of overall RIT score, so I've hidden the overall RIT score. If I click on bars from one of the instructional goals, I do not see the growth target anymore. I just see the score bands chart, and that's because the growth targets are calculated by NWEA based on overall RIT score only. The instructional goals don't have growth targets associated with them. In addition to all of this, you can filter all of the charts by subgroup. So let's say I am interested in looking at female students. I'm going to press submit, and every chart on the page is now filtered by female students only. And if you If you scroll down, you will see now that we've got a subgroup filter of female, and the numbers will be lower because now it's only female students. But the chart works exactly the same way. And I can click and I can see students, where they went to school, where they attend school, and what their names are if I click on a school. And that is my walkthrough of the NWEA map growth feature.